Hello, everyone. Today I'm talking to Yogi, and Yogi and I have a little bit of a background with some transformational work. And I'm so excited, Yogi, to be speaking to you today about how habits impact our relationships. And the work that I particularly love, or the commentary on habits that I particularly enjoy, is from Thomas Hubel, who recalls that habits are fabulous in that they can be automatic. We know how to get out of bed in the morning. We get into our car. We know to put on our seatbelt. We don't have to rethink these things every day. Where they trip us up sometimes is in our intimate relationships, where we know what we think we know, what our partner's going to say. We complete their sentences, and we kind of stop listening to what's really coming at us and the value or the wisdom or the connection that our partners are trying to create with us when we think, I know you so well, I can really finish your sentences. And we kind of fall asleep on the job in our most intimate relationships, where we really need to be staying awake so that we can see who our partner is minute to minute, if you like.
Yeah. So habits can be great that way, but also the habit of not listening can also create trouble down the line, both ways.
Exactly.
Yes.
Beautifully good. How do you see habits in our relationships?
I think for me, habits are really kind of the way a lot of time unconsciously we show up in relationships. Like I remember in the very beginning or first few years of my relationship with my now wife and then girlfriend, my tendency was looking for what I don't like. So that's a habit I create. Like I'm looking for what's wrong, what's fault, what's wrong. And that creates a certain kind of relationship. And now I see I've developed consciously habit of looking for what's right. And that also creates a different kind of relationship. And changing these habits can be, that can be a bunch of work because a lot of it is unconscious. And we have good reasons from the past for doing it, and we just keep doing them. So I think habits, in a way, make or break the relationship.
Right. And I love what you said, that you had to make a conscious effort to show up differently. You might have come from a background of criticism and judgment. And so you continued that pattern until you said, stop. How can I show up differently? And I think for those who are listening, people would tell me, yeah, so how do I change that? I think one of the things that's dear to my heart and that I practice within my own relationship is, at the end of the day, we review, my husband and I, various gratitudes. We pick a couple of gratitudes, and usually somewhere in that, there is gratitude for what they've done in the relationship today, done for us, or, thank you for doing the shopping today. And that is, I have found that practice to consciously go like this. That sometimes I'm about to say something and I think, is this going to be helpful or hurtful?
Bringing that consciousness into, like, am I saying this? Is it helpful or not? Instead of like, oh, I gotta say it. Right. Beautiful. Actually, the gratitude exercise or habit you mentioned, that's one of the first things I did with my wife also. Like at the end of the day, we'll talk about 3 things that, we are grateful for each other in the day. And that was very powerful. But I must say, even before that gratitude, there is a habit can come even before. What's important is this awareness that I want to change. A lot of times we just think, my wife is doing this and I don't like it and I gotta criticize it. So there's no need to change here. Because that's logically, when somebody's not doing what you like, you ask them to shut up or do something different. And even the awareness that there's a different way, a different possibility, that is even comes before the gratitude exercise. Because you can argue, like somebody who is like, I'm a very rational and, grew up as I was a mathematician and computer scientist, and I'm very logical and rational. And sometimes you think, well, what's the point of talking about what's good if I'm not happy about it? So we can argue about that. but there is a different way that awareness can be even precursor.
Yeah, that's
to
very powerful. It's very powerful. Terry Real talks about our first level consciousness, that knee-jerk reaction that I say, as you say, what's automatic, what's just kind of the pattern that I've been living in all my life, to that second consciousness where I take that pause.
Pause. Yeah.
Take that breath. Sometimes it means responsible distance taking. You know what? I'm triggered now. I need to leave, but I'll be back. We can continue this conversation in a day, but if I stay, I'm not going to say nice things.
So I have done that with my parents. I've done with my manager, actually. Like when I'm so upset at the time, and a lot of times when I'm upset, I'll just blurt out, I'll be upset, or I'll close off. Either one, it doesn't help. But when I'm aware of I'm upset, what I've done is I'm going to walk out telling them, like, now is not the right time. I'll come back tomorrow. I'll come back in half an hour, but now is not the right time to talk about it.
Excuse me.
And that can be very powerful, as you mentioned.
Right. Because you mentioned two things. One is I'm going to withdraw, which is not very relational. That cuts you off from the relationship. The other is not just walking away, but responsibly taking that distance. I need this break now. I need to go make a sandwich. I'll be back in 20 minutes, or whatever it is, with the commitment to coming back and doing the repair.
And actually,
that's what's extremely powerful.
That commitment to coming back, what I find very powerful, a lot of times when we take that break, we say, you know what, Bev, you're just upset right now. I'm going to come back later. That doesn't help. What helps me now is like, hey, Bev, I'm not in a place where I can talk responsibly right now, so I'm going to take a break. So taking responsibility for a bad emotional state also, not blaming it on the other person. Like, right. I am not in a good state, not like you are not in a good state.
Right.
See the difference?
And then if you were in a relationship, if one isn't in a good place and the other can hold their ground and that wise adult part of them, then it might not be a good day for your partner. It's an okay day for the relationship, but it's a great day for you when you have stayed your ground. And that means, wow, I can see you're really upset now. What can I do for you right now to make it better? And that's not, well, you never It's what can I do right now? I can't change the past. And yeah, I'm sorry that I did what I did. What can I do right now to make it better? And then you're not both running off at the races, just down that rabbit hole of anger and disconnect.
Yeah, I guess you're right. When one partner is actually in a good state, another is not. It doesn't have to be a partner. It could be business relationship. It could be any two people. If the issue is when both people are emotionally triggered, that's when you want to stop the conversation and take break and take responsibility. Like, I'm not in a good state. I'm going to take a break here.
Right.
And actually, one more thing that for me in relationship that helps tremendously is this habit of, a lot of times we get into this criticism mode, like I'm going to criticize with unconsciously. But if we stop criticizing, that's actually not helpful, because then things build up inside of us. So criticism serves a powerful purpose, and it's very good if done consciously. So I learned this exercise from Tara Brach. She calls it weekly check-ins. And once a week, or we do twice a week now, sit down for half an hour, 15 minutes, where we actually bring complaints in from the week and actually letting the complaints out instead of like just being complaining all the time. And that helps me if something happens, let's say on Friday, then my mind, okay, I can talk about this on Monday. Doesn't have to be right now. And that really helps to get things off my chest. But also a lot of times complaints are in the moment, I'm just feeling bad, but a couple hours later, it won't even matter. So a lot of time I don't even have to bring the complaints in, because it was just, I was not in a good place. I just felt bad about something. It was not about them, it was about me. So just consciously bringing complaint time every week, or you can do every day, can be very helpful.
That's a very interesting idea. I love Tara Brach's work. What I suggest is often behind every complaint is actually a request. And to think, what is the request and what is it you want to ask your partner? We so often know what we don't want, but we don't always know what we do want.
Yeah.
And that's where that pause can come in.
Pause can come in, yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Behind every complaint, there is a request. And you can even go a couple steps. Behind every complaint, there's a feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Behind every feeling or a negative feeling, behind every negative feeling, there is a need that is unfulfilled. And that behind that unfulfilled need, there's a request. So I guess we can expand out a little bit more, but right. I do see that behind every complaint, there is a cry for help or a need, unfulfilled request. Thank you, Bev.
Thank you. This was great. Maybe our next conversation will be around needs.
Yeah, we can do that. Thank you.
Okay.
Right. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.